Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Nonstop Talking with your girl here, Vivian Liu. Yesterday I posted my mid-year book freakout tag, and I thought today it would be fun to discuss the TVs and movies I've seen and kind of pick the best and worst of this year so far. Rankings I tend to save for the end of the year, so today I think I'm going to try to narrow down like the 5 best and the 5 worst, and then do it in alphabetical order. I watched a lot of stuff this year, so I don't know if it's gonna be easy to narrow it down to 5, but I'm gonna try. I think it would be good to start with the best and then end with the worst. How about that? The first title I'm going to be talking about today is the Japanese anime Attack on Titans, and this will just kind of encompass seasons 1, 2, and 3 since I watched all 3 of them this year. I rewatched the first season, and I originally actually watched the first season when it first came out, and it was crazy because it was also on showing on Netflix at the time, and I feel like this was one of the first pivotal steps of anime really going into mainstream culture, at least with American audiences, but what do I know? And with Attack on Titans, or Shingeki no Kyojin, the Japanese name, the story follows like this isolated, I guess, town where they're surrounded by walls, and they need to because there's these colossal titans that they need to protect themselves from. And so like I said, I finally rewatched the first season so that I could watch the second season, so that I could watch the third season. And I was doing it in hopes that I can do 1 through 3 and then hopefully just watch episodes of 4 as they come along, or season 4 as they come along. But now season 4 is on a hiatus, so I haven't started season 4 yet, but I'll get to it soon. Originally with season 1, I gave it a 4.5, but upon rewatching it, I felt that it's not as rewatchable, and so I dropped it down to a 4.3. And the reason it took me so long to watch season 2 was because there was a huge gap in between 1 and 2, the release, and I totally forgot about season 2. And when I tried to watch season 2, I was like, oh no, this has been too long, I need to rewatch season 1. And like I said, season 1 doesn't really have that rewatchability in my opinion, so I was just like, let me just kind of take a break from it and then get back to it. And then now 3 is out and 4 is out, and I'm like, okay, I need to do this. So I did buckle down and did all 3 seasons this year, and it was an amazing ride, freaking crazy. Season 2, I was kind of disappointed that it was so short. I felt like if I was in that original crowd that watched it when it came out, knowing how long I had to wait for it after watching season 1, and then knowing that season 2 wasn't a full long season, I would have been so sad. But luckily I didn't go through any of that. Yeah, so season 2, 4 out of 5. Season 3, 4 out of 5. I think the thing is that with season 3, it kind of goes crazy. There's a lot of I don't want to go into spoilers, but there's a lot of going on, imagery, motifs, historical stuff being drawn, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's still interesting and it's still entertaining and it's still well written, but I also think that it's shooting for too much. It's doing too much. I missed the premise of what it was season 1, and so now I don't know where it's gonna go season 4, and I hope that season 4 doesn't try to do too many stories and loses itself. I do know that the manga is complete, and I could read the manga if I wanted to, but I already started on the anime, and usually with me, I'm the type of person who picks one and I don't do both. But yes, overall, Attack on Titans is just great story, great characterizations, great look at humanity and war and history, and honestly, I freaking love Levi. Levi is the absolute best. If you want to jump into anime, I don't think Attack on Titans is where you should start, but if you want to, try. The second title I'll be talking about today is Bridgerton Season 1. I have very low interest in historical romances, so I originally was not planning on watching this, but then it was like became this massive thing that everyone was talking about, and it was like the number one, like, what, streamed, most watch, rewatch, I don't know, something number one Netflix, right? And it just became so big that it couldn't be contained, and my interest was piqued. So I decided, you know what, I should just watch it, which I did, and I have no regrets. Bridgerton is so freaking entertaining. The dresses and costumes were just absolutely stunning. The chemistry between the two main leads was just so delicious. I gave this show a 4 out of 5, which is really high, and it has two of like my favorite kind of themes or tropes. One of them is the fake relationship, and the other one is like just the display of positive sibling bond. I really like that, and I think they picked a really great cast, and they had such great chemistry and banter, and the way they bounced off each other was just amazing, and it was very enjoyable to watch. Honestly, the cast of characters, everyone is just so gorgeous. So like just watching it for eye candy is also a reason why. Anyways, I am super stoked for season 2. I know that the Duke will not be back for season 2, sadly, but it's understandable. My only thing is that, like, if the Duke isn't coming back, I don't understand why Daphne's coming back. Shouldn't they like stay home and raise the kids together? Because if their story is complete and now it's about Daphne's brother, I don't, you know, I'm talking too much right now. But yes, so this was great. It was fun. It was entertaining. Looking forward to the second season. In case you haven't watched it, because according to Netflix, everyone has, or at least people with Netflix. Anyways, it's about Daphne, who is entering courtship, and she really wants to get married, and to increase her chances, she decides to engage in like this fake courtship with Simon, and Simon does it so that he can like weed off everyone because he doesn't want to get married. I'm sorry about the noise. Obviously my neighbors are working on a construction project, and I can't help or stop it. I know it's distracting me. It's like really cutting off like the flow of how I am thinking of my sentences, so I'm sorry if I kind of sound a little bit choppy in the way that I speak. But next is Schitt's Creek, and this is going to encompass seasons 1 through 6. I've heard a lot about this show from my coworkers, and it wasn't until I was hanging out with a friend that when they started playing it and I started watching it that I gave into it, and it's so good. It's so good. I've like started rewatching it already, but literally I started watching it when my friends went home, and in a month I inhaled all 6 seasons because it's that good. It really is. Like, I don't know what to say. Like 5 out of 5. The synopsis. So it's about this like crazy, ridiculously rich family who overnight loses their fortune and has to move to this small nowhere town and learn to survive without being wealthy like they previously were. I don't know. It's just hilarious. The concept is very well done. The writing is impeccable. The characterization is great. Literally, like, you watch these characters from season 1, and then by the time you get to season 6, their growth, their maturity, their relatability, and just like you as the viewer following them through this journey to this end, because the conclusion is actually really well done. Like, there's just it was just such a beautiful journey. Like, really, the writing is just amazing. The fashion is amazing. Just like even like the little things and stuff like that. Like, I think it was just, I don't know what to say besides like well done. Like, really well done. Yeah, mainly what really got to me is like by the time you get to like season 6, just the amount of growth the characters go through, and you're just like, oh my god, this is so touching. And I think that's like when a sitcom is like really good, when it's funny but also there are the insightful moments, and then when the emotional moments hit, it's just such, like, it's like super moving. Yeah, like, I don't know how else to say it, but this was really good. 5 out of 5. Next is Shadow and Bone Seasons 1. I read the books beforehand, and hands down, this is one of the best book to live action adaptation. Like, that was just so well done. Oh my god, stop saying well done, Vivian. But yes, it was well done. It had a lot of hype, like massive hype, beforehand, and I think it lived up to the hype, which is very, very hard to do. And I think it just proves the amount of work and effort that was put into it to make it something good, and it's something great. I read the trilogy and then I read the duology. I wasn't a huge fan of the trilogy. The duology I liked more, and for them to be so smart to first of all combine the two together and then make the changes that needed to be made in that, like, main love triangle, I personally think it's better than the book. Which maybe other people might not agree, but there was just something in the trilogy that didn't work for me that the show fixed, and I just think the show was amazing. My only complaint was that it was a little too short, and I think it could have taken, sorry, my camera cut me off, but yeah, I think it could have taken its time. It was a little bit too short, the first season. I don't know if I can give a proper synopsis for this, but I'm gonna try. So this is set in a fictional world where people with powers exist, and in one of the countries, Ravka, there is a dark shadow that splits the country in half, and they are trying to find someone who is able to, I guess, manipulate light and hopefully remove this shadow and unite the country, because it's very hard for this one country to kind of travel through the shadow, because there's a possibility of them getting killed by the monsters that live in the shadow, but on its borders it's like enemy territory. So there's that, and then there's like another, the Six of Crows crew gang that's there engaging in a heist. Yeah, it's just really fun. The casting was really well done, impeccable. Go watch it if you haven't. It's actually really short. Last of the best that I will be discussing today is WandaVision. I waited until all the episodes of WandaVision and the Falcon and Winter Soldier to come out so I can binge them back to back. And to me, WandaVision is far superior. It's funny, it's entertaining, it has its moving moments, and I think the homage it pays to like old sitcoms was just very well done. It was a really nice touch, and for me, WandaVision is right now sitting really pretty behind Schitt's Creek for the end of the year list. I honestly don't know what to tell you. If you haven't been following the MCU like stuff, it's kind of weird to get into the synopsis of WandaVision, so I won't be doing that. It's weird. I literally, like said earlier, I'm not like a sitcom person, and here I am. Two of my best stuff this year might just be sitcoms. So we will see at the end of the year what happens, if there's going to be any changes. But WandaVision was so good. I had like medium expectations going into it, and it just surpassed the medium expectations, and it became something so much more that I didn't anticipate. And I thought like I kind of knew the story going in, but the slight things that they did to it, the changes were really fun, and I think just added layers to the story that I wasn't expecting, and it was just great. 5 out of 5. So that's it for the 5 best stuff I've seen so far in 2021. Now we're gonna go into the opposite, and I'm so sorry because this is in alphabetical order. The first title I'm going to be talking about is Baby Steps. Baby Steps showed up as an API movie recommendation on one of the streaming sites that I use, and I decided to give it a try. It's about a Taiwanese man who is living in the US trying to find a surrogate mother, but also trying to obtain his mother's approval. And I don't know, there's just a lot of things about this movie that didn't work with me. In my written review, I actually list them all out, and it's quite a few, so I don't want to rehash them here. But I think one of the main things is I didn't really like the main character, Danny. He's not someone I can root for. I don't have to like the main character of a story, though it helps, but I have to be able to root for you. And with Danny, I just couldn't root for him. I actually found him kind of selfish. He wasn't that great to his partner, and it seemed like he really wanted the surrogacy and kind of pushed it on his partner. I also didn't like Danny's mom. I felt that she was a caricature of the overplayed trope in every single freaking Asian American story of the tiger mom, and I don't know, I just was tired of that. It didn't seem new, fresh, or exciting. The writing came off as very convenient, contrived, and a little manipulative at times. Since I couldn't support the main character and I couldn't support the relationship, I felt like when it got to the conclusion, and granted it's a happy conclusion, I just couldn't care because I wasn't rooting for them, you know? And I think I was way too nice when I first rated this. I was way too nice because I gave it a 2.8 out of 5, but there. Next, I'm going to be talking about Everything's Gonna Be Okay Season 2. This hurts me so much because I adored Season 1. I was super excited for Season 2. Season 1 was just so good. The show is about an Australian young adult man who moves in with his half-sisters after the death of his father to help take care of them in the US. And there's so much diversity. The show is so inclusive. The writing is so clever and smart. I've actually have seen the main character stand up live right before the pandemic, by the way, or actually it was kind of but yeah, so I like his writing. Very smart, very funny, and I don't know, Season 2 just didn't work. I'm sad to say this, but the vibes I got from Season 2 was that it didn't know where it wanted to go. There was a lot happening, and I felt that it lost its focus because it was doing too much at once. And for me, that was very disappointing because when the show loses the focus, obviously it also loses the attention span of its viewers, and I feel like that's what happened to me. I just stopped caring. The next title that I'm going to share doesn't feel right because it's technically a DNF, but it's not really a proper DNF because I did watch 2 episodes and it's not really a show. But okay, the thing I'm talking about is Netflix After Party. I gave this a 1 out of 5 because it's so bad. I watched 2 episodes because of the cast that they were interviewing, and I couldn't even sit through those episodes in its entirety. It was so awkward, so try hard, so uncomfortable, so not funny. Like, the flow was off, the hosts, the way they communicated with each other didn't work, the way they interviewed their guests didn't work. Nothing about this was good. So I don't know what you're trying to do, Netflix. Well, overall, Netflix After Party is cringe, and I felt like even with the 2 episodes that I didn't finish, I felt like I just forcefully made myself sit through that crap. yeah. Next, it's another failed second season, and that is Prodigal Son. Season one it started off really good, season one, and then the pandemic happened and they had to cut their conclusion, scrape it, and it ended flat. But that was understandable because of the pandemic, so I totally understand why they did that. And because of the strong start, like, I was still very much looking forward to it getting renewed and having a second season and coming back and just wowing us like it did originally. The story follows Malcolm Bright, whose father is a famous serial killer, and that haunts him even now in his adulthood as a profiler consultant for the NYPD. So there's news that the show has been canceled, and showrunners are trying to find like streaming sites or another company to pick it up for season 3, because season 2 kind of ends on a cliffhanger. But honestly, I can see why the show got canceled. As sad and as mean as that is to say, it is what it is. Season 2 tried, and it tried very hard. It brought in 2 new villains to try to make things exciting, but that wasn't really the case. It just fell flat. Everything just fell flat. Nothing worked, and it was boring, and I ended up giving it a 2 out of 5. And honestly, even if some network decides to pick it up for season 3, I probably wouldn't watch it. The last and 5th spot is actually 2 movies that like kind of correspond and relate to each other, but they're like childhood movies that I've rewatched that I don't think has aged well per se, and I feel like it's really mean to kind of bring these movies and talk about it, because it's not like a huge like worse. I think if anything, it's just like going back and rewatching and being disappointed that it wasn't as good as I remembered as a kid. So I am going to omit myself from talking about them. Alright, that's it for the best and worst stuff I have watched so far in 2021. All the best stuff I highly recommend. All the worst stuff, I mean, 2 of them are like season 2s, but I would say if you want to give them a try, go ahead. But Netflix After Party, definitely skip it. Skip it. Don't do it. Before I go, I need to do a little bit self-insert promotion, self-plug here. I published something on Amazon Kindle. The title is 27-Year-Old Virgin Body and Mind. It's a feminist collection of short anecdotes and poems. It's actually really small, and it kind of centers around the themes of womanhood, femininity, virginity, my identity as an Asian American, and body image. So if you are interested in any of that, please give it a try. I will link it down below. And that's that. Outro time. Like, comment, subscribe. See you in my next video whenever that is. Bye!